Best broiler chicken farming practice session 4 is nutrition and feeding management. That is understanding broiler nutritional requirements. Feed represents 65 to 70% of your total production costs, making feeding management the single most important factor in your operations profitability. Every gram of feed wasted, every day birds take longer to reach market weight, and every point of feed conversion ratio above your target directly reduce your profit margin. Conversely, optimizing your feeding program can improve growth rates by 10 to 15%, improve feed efficiency by 15 to 20%, and increase profit margin by 200 to 300%. Let's explore how to design and implement a feeding program that maximizes growth performance while minimizing cost. Broiler chickens require a balanced diet containing proteins, which are essential amino acids, carbohydrates, this is energy, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water in proper proportions that change as birds mature. Young chicks have high protein requirements for rapid tissue growth, while older birds require more energy for size gain. A typical broiler feeding program consists of 3 or 4 distinct phases. Starter feed, day 1 to day 10. Grower feed, day 11 to day 24. And finisher feed, day 25 to market. And sometimes a withdrawal feed, which is final day 5 to day 7 to 7 days before processing. With no medication, each phase has specific nutrient-specific designs to match the body's changing nutritional needs and optimize economic performance. Starter feeds typically contain 22 to 24% protein, with the metabolizable energy of about 3,000 per kg, providing the high protein level young chicks need for rapid early growth and organ development. Grower feeds reduce protein slightly to 20 to 22%, while increasing energy to approximately 3,010 per kilogram, supporting continued muscle growth and skeletal development. Finisher feeds reduce protein further to 18 to 20% while maximizing energy at 3,200 per kg, optimizing final weight gain while improving feed conversion efficiency. Some progressive farmers implement even more phases, including a pre-starter feed for the first 3 to 5 days, with even higher nutrients specification, which has been shown to improve early performance and uniformity. Sourcing, let's look at sourcing and managing quality feeds. You have 3 primary options for feed sourcing. Purchase complete commercial feeds, purchasing a commercial concentrate to mix with your own grain, or formulating and mixing your own complete feeds. For beginning farmers and small operating, up to about 2,000 birds per cycle, purchasing complete commercial feeds from reputable manufacturers is usually the most practical option. Commercial feeds are properly formulated, nutritionally balanced, and typically include necessary medications and additives. The convenience and consistency of commercial feeds outweigh the slightly higher cost of smaller operations and the risk of nutritional imbalances from improper formulation or mixing is eliminated. As your operation grows beyond 2,000 to 5,000 birds per cycle, consider working with an animal nutritionist to formulate custom feeds that you can mix on farm or have mixed by the local feed mill. This approach allows you to take advantage of locally available ingredients, potentially reducing costs by 10 to 20% while maintaining nutritional quality. Common feed ingredients include maize or corn, primarily energy source, typically 50 to 60% of the diet. Soybean meal, primarily protein or protein source, typically 25 to 35% of the diet. Fish meal or other animal protein resources, 5 to 10%. Vegetable oils, 2 to 5 to 4% for energy and to reduce dust. Limestone and dicalcium phosphate, that is calcium and phosphorus sources for bone development. Salt, vitamins, minerals, and medications are needed. Regardless of how you source feeds, proper storage is crucial to maintain quality and prevent losses. Store feed in cool, dry, well-ventilated area, protected from rain, pests, and direct sunlight. Moisture is feed's worst enemy. Damp feed allows mold growth that produces mycotoxins, which are invisible poisons that reduce growth performance, damaging immunity and can cause mortality. Therefore, never use moldy or caked feeds. Implement fast in, fast out inventory management to ensure feed is always fresh and purchase only what you can use within 2 to 3 weeks during hot, humid weather or within 4 to 6 weeks during cool, dry weather. Inspect feed deliveries carefully, checking for moles of odors, insects, or unusual appearance before accepting delivery. Let's look at feed management practices that maximize efficiency. How you deliver feed to your birds is just as important as the feed quality itself. Poor feeding practices waste feed, create competition and stress among birds, and result in poor uniformity. Use appropriate feeding equipment sized for your flock and bird age. For young chicks, begin with chick trays or paper plates for the first 5 to 7 days. Then transition to tube feeders or pan feeders. Plan for approximately 3 to 4 centimeters of feeder space per bird, meaning for every 100 birds, you need 300 to 400 centimeter feeder perimeters, approximately 3 to 4 tube feeders or pan feeders. Insufficient feeder space creates competition, with dominant birds eating their fill while submissive birds can't access adequate feed, resulting in poor uniformity and more small birds at market time. Therefore, adjust feeder height as well as birds grow to minimize wastage. Feeders should be positioned so that the feeding edge is approximately level with the bird's back. To allow too low and birds scatter. If too low, birds will scatter the feeds as they scratch. Too high and small and means smaller birds can't reach feeds comfortably. Therefore, check feeder adjustment at least weekly as birds grow rapidly. Never fill feeders more than 3/4 to have filled, as birds will scratch out feed trying to find their preferred particle size, wasting significant quantities. Instead, allow feeders to run completely empty once daily, which encourages birds to consume all particle sizes rather than selectively feeding feeding, improving diet, balance, and reducing wastes. Implement programmed feeding rather than keeping feed available ad libitum all the time. For birds older than about 10 days, research shows that structured feeding programs that include short periods without access to feeds, that is 1 to 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours daily, can improve feed conversion efficiency by 3 to 5% and reduce leg problem and ascites, a metabolic disorder, by 10 to 15%. Birds learn to eat more efficiently during feeding periods, and short breaks allow digestive systems to process feed more thoroughly. However, ensure adequate feeder space so that birds can eat during feeding periods, and monitor carefully to avoid restricting intake so much that growth is compromised. Best broiler chicken farming practice number 5 is water management.